There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel, I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
As James Brown once said, I feel good, and I do. It's a Thursday. The NFL is back tonight. You got a game with a point spread, Joe Ranieri. That's -1 to -1.5, depending where you're shopping at. What more can you ask for? 2 2-1 football teams playing good conference/divisional football. That's on the way. Major League Baseball also with afternoon games. Who is going to win the divisions? Who's going to make those final wildcard spots? Still up for grabs. And also, is Cal Raleigh going to hit 61, 62, 63 home runs? We'll certainly find out. But it's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. It's the early line. It's just the way we get down, Joe. And again, James Brown, we feel good in this spot, don't we?
Yeah, well, Mr. Brown also said Papa's got a brand new bag, and we're looking to get those bags going here this weekend, Donnie, with some of these games, because I love it. The problem is the theme is injuries early on in this NFL season, that's for sure.
Yeah, the theme is also trying to find out who your quarterback is going to be, and that theme of the early lineup starts right here with our guy Jackson Dart. The time has come, Joe. Hey, our goal is sit it out. Week 13, week 14, week 15, get in there. Nah, Russell Wilson not playing good enough. Brian Dable on the hot seat. The fans are ready to revolt, which means we see Jackson Dart. I don't know if Jackson Dart wants to see the Los Angeles Chargers. They're about a touchdown underdog in this one, but the season and the career starts right now for Jackson Dart, Joe.
Listen, Donnie, to me, it's the right move here, especially if Dable and Joe Schoen are worried about losing their jobs. Yeah. You got to do something. You can't score single digits. Everybody has known, Donnie, with a pair of eyeballs over the last 3 seasons that Russell Wilson is done. You can't expect to roll Russ out there and expect to play the Dallas defense every week. That's not the case. You got to breathe some life in that locker room. And from what we saw in the preseason, Jackson Dart did that. And these guys want to play for him. So I think it's the right move for Dable here, especially if he plans on saving his job. I'm expecting a big effort from him here this week here from the Giants.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors probably going to be happy about that. He's going to get a lot of target share. But let's talk here about Russell Wilson no longer being the starting quarterback. But more importantly, we got video of Brian Dable telling you why Russell Wilson isn't that starting quarterback, huh?
So in terms of the quarterback situation, I met both with Russ yesterday and Jackson privately. And Russ was nothing but a pro, which I would expect him to be. It's my decision. going with Jackson. We're going to get him ready to play this week and the remainder of the season. He's going to do everything he can. Russ will be the backup. It's my decision, and we're going with Jackson.
Look at that. That's the way it comes down. One day, Joe, they're going to proudly come to me at the SportsGrid Network and say, you know what, I'm just not good enough for the early line anymore. But I'm going to tell you, I am good enough for the early line. Everybody gets those talks throughout their career. But Russell Wilson demoted to backup quarterback, but saying he's still going to fight as if he's a starter, Joe.
Yeah, listen, Russ, it's been a great career.
Yeah.
I know he says he didn't want to retire, right, or something along those lines. But really, like, what else? What are we doing here, Russ? Although he can get a paycheck and be a backup, I'm sure, with some teams. I mean, look at how terrible some of the backups have been so far this year. So I don't. Where is exactly? I mean, they have so many quarterbacks on this team now, the Giants. So what is the pecking order? Yeah. Is Jameis Winston still the where is everybody in the Giants quarterback room? Right? Where's DeVito too? Ridiculous.
Guy's doing commercials now too. He's making probably more money off the field than he is on the field at this point. But understand this too. I don't want to hear this. Well, you know what? Russ is the backup now. Ooh, Joe, he would look so good on the Cincinnati Bengals. That's right. He looked so good on the Broncos. He looked so good on the Steelers. Yep. He looked so good on the Giants that he would look so good on the Cincinnati Bengals. Enough. It's the end of the road. Although we've gone. Remember that song by Boyz II Men right there? It's the end of the road, Russ. Just deal with it, relax, and live it. Hopefully it's not the end of the road for the 2025 season for Nolan Smith Jr. And me as an Eagles fan, I can't have this. Hurt his tricep in the Super Bowl. Got it surgically repaired. Tweaked his tricep last week against the Rams. He's down, Joe, a minimum of 4 weeks. That's the best pass rusher on the Philadelphia Eagles. Uh-oh.
Yeah, not good here. By the way, I mean, and that's not the only injury you got to be worrying about as well, right? You got Zach Bond, you got Lane Johnson. There's, again, a lot of big names, it feels like, Donnie, across the board here, banged up, and it is altering some of these outcomes and how you should be approaching these games. But that's a big loss for Philadelphia.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, Zach Bond had a knee brace on yesterday. Said he's going to be good. He don't wear a knee brace. He also had Jihad Campbell, I believe, in a brace as well, not practicing yesterday. And now you take a look at Lane Johnson, who did practice, but it's a neck injury, and who knows if that flares up. Man, the NFL is a war of attrition on a week-to-week basis, no doubt about it, which includes Jaden Daniels. Last week, he didn't even play. No big deal. Commanders won that football game. You don't want an extended period of time without your top signal caller. It looks like, Joe, Jaden's probably back this week, though.
Yeah, he could be, but again, I don't know that there is a rush unless he is 100% ready to go here. He was a limited participant on Wednesday. That knee injury is a concern because I don't know that it goes anywhere anytime soon. But they looked really competent, and they looked good offensively with Marcus Mariota there. And quite honestly, Atlanta looks absolutely lost after that shutout loss to Carolina. So if he's good to go, great. But in week 4, Donnie, I'm not pushing him at all here at this point.
Joe, I looked at the Ravens this year coming into the season. Pound for pound, maybe the most talented team in the NFL. Maybe it's going to be their year. They sit at 1-2, but it's not because of the offense. The offense is cooking. The defense stinks. And there's just so much that your best defensive lineman doesn't play. You can't stop the football. You look at Madubuike. They don't even know when he's coming back with a neck injury. That's devastating news for the Ravens.
No, it's not good, especially coming off of that performance that we just saw and those guys getting absolutely smoked by Detroit's running game there. Good news for Baltimore, though. It looks like Isaiah Likely will make his season debut against the Chiefs. So at least they get some offensive firepower back in the mix here.
By the way, Mark Andrews woke up out of the grave past game there. Did 2 touchdowns, a lot of catches here. Maybe that 2 tight end set certainly going to help them there. Let's keep moving here. Roki Sasaki, we're talking Major League Baseball. He's back off the IL, ready to help the Dodgers in their pennant race here.
They're going to do something. Listen, the bottom line is here too. What are we going to get from some of these guys that are making these all of a sudden will be available? We got a lot of rookie headlines with some teams heading into the postseason. We got guys that have been injured coming back. There's a lot of question marks, I think, with a lot of these postseason teams.
I'll tell you where there's no question marks. Paul Skeens is a great pitcher. He plays in a bad organization. The topic should have been like, Skeens closes out regular season dominance. Game 1 starter in the divisional round will be Paul Skeens. Are we ever going to hear that, Joe? Will we ever hear Paul Skeens makes his major league postseason debut? I don't think it's going to happen in Pittsburgh.
Yankee uniform, it will. Absolutely. We all know where that's where he's going to end up. So, I mean, come on, let's be realistic. He's going to end up a Yankee, just like Garrett Cole did and the rest as you go down the list here. But what a great season. Way to go out in style in your final start there by playing spoiler to the Cincinnati Reds. Great job.
That's the early lineup, and here's a bonus round for the early lineup. How about Cal Raleigh hit 60 home runs? Joe, he hit 60 home runs, and his home ballpark was in T-Mobile up in Seattle, one of the toughest ballparks to hit home runs. What a season for the big dumper here, and it's still going.
Still going, and yes, now maybe can he parlay that into a postseason run for Seattle here? Could be an all-time greatest season here for Cal Raleigh.
The big dumper, the MVP lead right now. We'll see where it goes. You know, we're going right now. Cam Stewart, the Prime Minister, to talk next. Ryder Cup action, baseball, CFL, NFL. Where is he going? Come back and find out.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes one. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
If a game is on the line,
give me the Navy kicker.
Oh,
the guy's going into battle in 2 weeks. He can't make an extra point. Come on.
From a mindset perspective, yeah. I'm not. Listen, we thank them for their service. I love them. Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you have a bet and you have an academy kicker with a field goal or an extra point, you got to hold your breath.
27 yards. You know,
27 yards. The kid shanked it from like 30.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
When I tell you hour number 2 is in full effect, it is in full effect. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. Now we welcome in the energy man himself. It's Cam Stewart, because we need help with the Ryder Cup, with the CFL, maybe the WNBA, Major League Baseball, pro football. This is your guy. Cam, welcome into the show. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you very much, Donnie. What an intro. And I'll tell you something about this Ryder Cup. There's one thing, though. Hey, turkeys. What day is it today? It's Thursday morning. Joe, I'm watching Golf Channel right now. It's pissing rain. Like, what are these guys? I like, say there's any type of crazy rain delay. You know how many matches these guys have to put in? Like, I don't understand why you can't go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then you have college football on Saturday and NFL on Sunday. Because I'll tell you one thing, I know you, Donnie, and I know Joe, and people who bet golf, we also bet football. So I just don't, and these guys in the Ryder Cup haven't been playing since Scheffler won a few weeks ago. So there's no, like, you could start this thing any other time. I'm just like, you got to squeeze this in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and compete against the National Football League in college. Anyway, I'm not the commissioner of the PGA Tour. I will tell you this. Yeah, Donnie, you're right. They changed a little bit of rules in the CFL, but they didn't go to 4-down football because I know a lot of people would have said, and cut, Mike, we're done. But you know what it is? Hey, the field is now 100. They have to do these things too because remember, guys, you guys know like small schools in the MAC and stuff where they have that track. Like some of them aren't even 20 yards or whatever. So the CFL rules are fine, but Gabe came up with some great ideas yesterday. We'll talk about it. But here's the deal with the Ryder Cup. If I'm Team USA, this is not the track that I want. I don't know how you feel about it, Joe, but I'm going to tell you something. Like, I'm looking at Team Europe and go, okay, Rory McIlroy bombs the ball. John Rahm bombs the ball. You got Bryson DeChambeau, but you get to choose the course. And I'm going to tell you something about Bethpage Black. It's one of the top 10 courses of difficulty in the world, not just the United States. So I'm looking at Team USA going, okay, I know there's some good players there, but guys, I get Europe at plus 180. And I'm looking at this stuff going, I don't know how you feel, Joe. I don't know how you feel, Donnie. But I'm looking at Europe for value and saying they have a great chance to win. Like they have a lot of guys right now that are very, very good. And I'll tell you, Joe, you know what? Rory bombs it. You can put him with Fleetwood, who one year was perfect with Molinari. I'm just saying, I look at the value of Europe, Joe, and go, you know what? You want to give me Europe at almost 2-1? Sign me up. And I hope you guys don't cut my mic as a Canadian. I love Joe Ranieri, the mayor of Miami, Donnie right side, the pride of, Philadelphia Eagle fan.
Yep.
Tommy, he's a Rochester American. I love all my friends at SportsGrid, but this is about paying bills. And I'm looking at the European team going, I can't believe the price we're getting, Joe. It's very, like, I would have made America maybe, what do you think, Joe? Maybe $1.30? Like, not like $2. That's my opinion. I think Europe can win this thing, and I think the value's there.
Yeah, I think, obviously the big names, having the world's number one in Scotty Scheffler is going to have a lot of people running to the window to back Team USA. But give me the keys. I asked Keith Stewart yesterday, give me a name here of a guy that is going to be key. If the U.S. wins, this is a guy that's got to show up and show out. And he said, obviously, behind Scotty, it was Bryson that needs to elevate that crowd. He's got to show up for Team USA. Who's the guy for the Europeans that's got to show up and show out here, Cam?
Great call, Joe. And then Bryson DeChambeau, the problem is he might hit it a mile, but he also sprays it. For Europe, I think there's a lot of guys, but I'm going to say Ty Hatton. You look at Rory McIlroy, Ty Hatton is the Bryson DeChambeau of Europe. He's an animal. He can smash clubs, and he has a personality. And the one thing about him is he's going to have these guys going nuts. And the key to Europe, I think, early. You got to get these guys early. And that's what I love, Joe. The first day betting, plus 140. And what do the Europeans do well? We've known this for years. Joe, you're a golf guy like me. Foursomes, alternate shot. What do the Americans do well? Singles. That's what they always come back on Sunday with, singles. But I'm looking at these guys going, even with the singles, the depth of the European team is very, very strong. Ty Hatton's an animal. That's what I'm thinking. He's one of those guys. And I'll tell you, Joe, for Scheffler, his points, 2.5. I go, that's a great bet for Team USA. You know what he is? He's plus 280 to be top American point getter, too. And I'm looking at this. Didn't we bet him at plus 280 with 162 guys in a field? So if I lose this bet, I don't even care. I'm getting Scotty Scheffler at the same price in a tournament with like nobody at the same price he has for a full field tournament. He will do well. I know people are like, oh, is he long enough? Yeah, no, Is he straight enough? Yeah. Can he putt? For sure. He checks all the boxes. But then I'm looking at Europe going, oh my God, like look at this team. Hatton, Rahm, Hovland, Aubert, McIntyre's an animal. He almost won the US Open. Rose, a veteran. Fleetwood never loses in these things. So I'm just absolutely shocked, guys, at the price for Europe. And great question, though, Joe. I think Hatton's one of those key guys. I also bet him over 1.5 points. Like, he's one of those guys. Ooh. And guys, when you're betting this stuff, think about Scheffler. He will be in every single American team that he can. Like, there's no bench for him. That's the thing. Like, Colin Morikawa, take a seat. If he loses his first match, you might not see him till singles. That's the whole key to this thing. You have to have guys that are going to play a lot. And I'll tell you, Scotty Scheffler, don't you agree, Joe, at 2.5 points? That's pretty good. If he doesn't get it, I don't care. I think the number is great. Plus 280, top American player. And I'll tell you one other American that I love, Cameron Young. I know Carver's with the kids. I was going to do a show with him. He's at Disney World. And we texted. Here's the deal. Cameron Young, New York guy, from the area. What does he do well? Bomb it. At Bethpage Black, you got to murder the ball. Like, you got to be there. And I think he's one rookie that is sneaky, and he finally got his win. He almost won the Canadian Open, 5 tournaments, Joe. He's just top 10 machine. I think he's a guy that's very, very dangerous. So that's a guy, top rookie. I'd look at Cameron Young.
You think it's Cam quick out the door? You think this is decided in the singles matches, or are they going to be so far behind again, Team USA, it's not going to matter what happens on Sunday?
I think it goes to singles. I think it's close. And remember, guys, if it's a tie, be careful when you're betting. 14-14, it's 28 points. Europe will retain the trophy. The team that won last time gets it. So that's the whole thing. If you want to bet it that way, it's plus 130. Without the tie, it's plus 180. Joe, Thursday night football, in the Battle of the Birds, my Seahawks to beat the Cardinals under 43.5. Let's rock. I'm telling you, I love what this team's doing right now.
I am shocked that Cam Stewart went with the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm absolutely the Saints last week like a loser, Joe. Loser.
Stewart, we love you, brother. Enjoy it. The early line continues here on the grid.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Major League Baseball coming down the stretch here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then away we go into the postseason. By the way, I like to say my Philadelphia Phillies clinched the number 2 seed. We won't be playing baseball in the playoffs until the following Saturday, so we get to root on maybe the New York Mets or the Los Angeles Dodgers to get beat in the first round, and then away we go. But before we get there, Are the Mets actually going to be in? Why? We have a 12:40 start today between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, all hands on deck. And I want to start this here because, Joe, we always like to educate the people, not on the individual games that you have, but understanding what's to come over the next few days. The haves and the have-nots. Teams have clinched. Teams are starting to set up their rotations and their bullpens for the playoffs, Joe. So let's start here, making sure you see who is in and out of that starting lineup, because nothing hurts worse than you say, man, I love Seattle tonight. And they go, well, yeah, nobody's playing. They clinched their division at this point. They want to give their guys a day off. And now Friday, Saturday, Sunday could be meaningless. Hear my thought process of that? Same thing with the Philadelphia Phillies. Hey, Bryce Harper's out here. Oh, he's a little bit under the weather. Is he going to get another day off at this point? Make sure, Joe, that you are checking your starting lineups and the meaningful games and the meaningless games on the schedule today.
Yeah, especially in the meaningless games for teams that already know they punched their ticket and have nothing really to play for. And there's a handful of them, but the Reds are not one of those teams, unfortunately, Donnie, because they just can't beat the Pirates, apparently. And they've got one more crack at it. And I don't know, man. They have not been swept at home yet this year. Could this be the final series, their final home series, the most important series of the season for them, and they end up getting swept? Wouldn't that be fantastic?
It's unbelievable, too, because they absolutely need this. You see the price points there, 150s at the opening number, and now we're seeing 164s, even as high as 175s in this game with a total of 8. For me, like, just because you need to win doesn't mean you're going to win the game. But come on, Cincinnati. Like, you have to win this game today.
They don't have a choice. The last 3 games are on the road against Milwaukee, who, again, not a whole heck of a lot to play for here, Donnie. But you know what? Well, they went on the road, right, and beat the Padres last night 7-1. So that's not going to be an easy out one way or the other. So they need this game in a big way tonight here against Pittsburgh.
No, they certainly do. And we're not actually going to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies or handicap that game against the Marlins because, quite frankly, it doesn't matter. But yesterday, Joe, like, again, just case in point, the Phillies put out an awful lineup. You know what they did? They hit 8 home runs last night. So when we say, like, it's baseball and it doesn't always go according to plan, just remember, put your best foot forward here. Don't bet in the bad situations. You'll come out on top more likely than the rest here. Houston taking on the Athletics today. Framber Valdez. This guy was once the ace of the staff, struggling down the stretch, going up against JT Ginn. Must-win situation for Houston to keep themselves in the playoff picture. They're not even a favorite today. It's roughly a pick-em with Framber Valdez on the mound and a total of 9.5. What happened to the Stros? There's a collapse for you.
Well, yeah, and again, they can thank the Detroit Tigers for playing even worse baseball than they are, that they're still even in the conversation for the wild card here. My goodness, 5-game losing streak is what they are on right now, and now they got to take on the Athletics where the bats are not there. Donnie, they're not there. They can't be trusted. And Ginn has been pretty good. And I think the Athletics are having a fun time playing spoiler right now.
By the way, this next game, too, like, again, the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Dodgers can't chase down the Phillies to get that number 2 seed. The Dodgers, making it into the playoffs. Arizona, a lot to play for. Yamamoto's on the mound. But also, I was informed of this. I still see Gallen as the starting pitcher, but I thought I read last night from Bob Nightingale that's not going to be the case, and they're just going to piecemeal this game together. They are a heavy favorite for the Dodgers, and they might be getting a white flag game for Arizona.
Yeah, not kind of crazy here. I mean, you wouldn't think that that's what they're going to do, but Beeks is who I see as the opener here for Arizona, the lefty. But my goodness, I mean, that was a game that was very winnable for Arizona again last night, and unfortunately, they weren't able to get it done. This is another desperation back against the wall. They have got to get it done here tonight against the Dodgers at home.
Hey, it's always interesting to see how these games flow together because it feels like, Joe, week 16, week 17, week 18 in pro football. It's like, boy, make sure you're listening to the manager. Make sure you're listening to who's going to be in that starting lineup because you could be getting I'm getting plus 125 by game time. You're getting plus 180 because nobody's playing in that game. Now, just after the break, I don't even know if we need handicaps anymore on these situations, but it's Detroit and it's Cleveland that we're going to talk about. It's Montero and it's Messick here. You're going to see a heavy favorite for Cleveland at this point. And also, is there value on Detroit? Or have we gone so far that Detroit might not win another Major League Baseball throughout the final 4 days of the season? Unbelievable fall. It's Detroit, it's Cleveland. It's next on the early line.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
I would say a phenomenal year for the UConn graduate, as Paige Beckers could have came out last year to the WNBA, and she decided to come out this year. It would have been interesting if it would have been Paige or Caitlin Clark. I don't think it would have been as slam dunk as people think to go to Caitlin Clark.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
They had clearly in hand at the end, especially in the second half, and yet somehow they managed a shank of a 60-yard field goal, and a flag comes in with no time left, Donnie, for a penalty. Do you want to know how many times that penalty of leverage was called all last season? Want to take a guess?
How many?
4.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
You want the odds perspective on the show? That's what you get on the Early Line. That's what your boy DRS does and Joe Ranieri. We want to put in the big picture into the small picture, which the small picture today is Detroit's going to take on Cleveland. The bigger picture was Cleveland over the summer, Joe, was a 50-1 price, not to win the World Series, to win their own division. They're going to win their own division here because Detroit can't stop losing. And today, Kiter Montero's on the mound for the Detroit Tigers. Parker Messick, the young lefty for the Guardians, on the mound today. So you say to yourself, it's probably a pick'em game. No, it's not, Joe. We're as high as minus 170 at some outlets right now for a favorite for the Guardians over the Tigers, and a total between 7.5 and 8 runs. Once again, this is not a handicap. This is a free fall, and nobody is stopping it. Price point be damned. It's got to be the Guardians again for me today, Joe.
Again, Donnie, we started this whole show off by talking about a very valuable betting lesson of trying not to catch a falling knife. Well, the falling knife in this spot is the Detroit Tigers. And it hasn't just been for a couple of games, Donnie. This has been going on now for the entire month of September. And the longer or the closer we get to the end of the regular season, the more tense, the more stress that we're starting to see from this team, and the worse it's getting. They are not going to snap out of this. Cleveland is focused. They've won 17 of their last 19 games, including all 5 against Detroit this month. I mean, they erased a 15.5 game deficit. There is nothing redeeming about backing the Tigers in this spot.
By the way, can we get Clase back now? Can we just reinstate those guys for gambling charges and wipe the slate clean? Because it looked like that was like, it's not going to worry the rest of the season. Just get them away from the team. Now you need these guys. Bring them back on board. But today, we'll see if the Guardians can again deliver another gut punch there to the Detroit Tigers. We'll see if that happens. I'll tell you right now, the Toronto Blue Jays not making it easy on themselves, and neither are the Yankees chasing them down when the bats are coming alive. The Yankees today, a minus 300 favorite over the Chicago White Sox at home in the Bronx with a total of 8.5. The Yankees, full gas, trying to win that AL East, and they are a monster favorite to win their baseball game today.
Listen, as well they should be. I mean, you know, Judge gets it done last night. They had Fried on the mound. Now they got their other ace there in Rodon, who has been absolutely their go-to guy this season. So, they are a $3 favorite, and a $3 favorite for a reason. I would probably look team total over as well, because I think the runs keep coming for the Yankees.
How about this one here? Boston versus Toronto yesterday on Bye. Me and Joe were loading up on the Boston Red Sox, and they did not disappoint. Max Scherzer's on the mound. You can't fade him. Oh, yes, you can, and do with ease. And hammered yesterday were the Toronto Blue Jays. They're looking to bounce back today. It's Bayo on the mound here, the right-handed pitcher for the Red Sox, going up against Shane Bieber, the trade line acquisition for Toronto. How about the overnight line, Joe? Minus 155 for Toronto. Collapsing as we speak. Minus 132 and a total listed of 8 here. Boston trying to do even more damage to Toronto. Boston trying to fight over the final 4 games here in desperate need of a win of the Blue Jays. I don't know if they get it here, do they?
Well, they were in a position to clinch a postseason berth with a win here in this game. And then, of course, if the Blue Jays lose and the Yankees win, well, guess what, Blue Jays? You're not in first anymore in the American League East. So this is a big game. And right now, in current form, the Blue Jays have lost 6 of 7 and a 5-game lead back from, September 16th. That's been erased here. And call me crazy here, Donnie. You keep only scoring 1 run, you're not going to beat a lot of teams. The bats have gone MIA for Toronto, and it's been like that now for a little while.
And by the way, talking about going MIA, the Mets have been MIA, it feels like, since the All-Star break, but still clinging to a playoff position in the wild card. They're going to take on Chicago again. And Imanaga is going to be on the mound, the lefty, going up against McLean. It's almost like hey, kids, win some baseball games for us on the New York Mets as starting pitching, because our veterans can't do anything here. A total listed at 7.5 and a pick 'em here. The Mets absolutely need this. The Chicago Cubs just looking to set their rotation up here for September/October playoff baseball. How are we feeling about the Mets in complete freefall mode? But it seems like nobody can steal that race from them.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but they got to deal with a rookie to end up helping them clinch a playoff berth, the Mets do. And they got a pretty good one in McLean. The kid is absolutely lights out. Imanaga's no joke either, but he hasn't been as dominant as he has been last season here. I give the edge to the Mets early, but they have to play from in front in this game. So I would look at them in the first 5, Donnie.
How about a tough handicap coming up in this next game? It's Colorado and Seattle. Yesterday, I loved the team total for the Seattle Mariners. They easily got that. They were pounding away early in that game, which you love to see. Now, you have the clinching of the division for the Mariners. You have the Mariners in the playoffs, and they're celebrating on back-to-back nights. So you might say to yourself, oh, they'll probably take it easy on Colorado. You can probably have your double-A ball club knock off Colorado. But understand this, too. Joe, they're basically a game back of being the number 1 overall seed in the American League. So it's not as if you clinch a playoff spot, win your division, take a couple days off. There is a lot to play off for Seattle. Hancock's going up against Blaylock tonight, still a minus 220 favorite for Seattle. How do you play this? Because for me, Joe, I still really like Seattle. And I don't think a lot of guys are going to get the day off, but you have to watch the late night game where those starting lineups are. If they're full go tonight, they should smash Colorado. But if we have a mixed match lineup, that underdog price might be looking decent for Colorado. But again, who the heck wants to bet Colorado any way, shape, or form?
No, well, you can't. And the Mariners, like you said, they're still in play for a wild card series bye, thanks to the Detroit Tigers, again, falling apart. So there is a lot that these teams, no matter what happens with Detroit, all of these teams should absolutely keep them on the Christmas list here, because they've been great to teams like Houston and Seattle and the Red Sox and others here. So I'm with you. I don't think Seattle takes their foot off the gas. It's been a 23-year division title drought. That was the 4th longest active in baseball. They got it done, and I don't see them stopping here. They got other things they want to do, including getting that time off in the bye would be huge for Seattle.
And also understand this, too. Like, you owe it to your players sometimes. And you don't want to be, hey, you know what, I'm going to chase individual accolades, Joe, over the team achievements. We understand that. But this isn't a time like, hey, Cal, sit out like 2 out of the final 4 games or whatever. We don't need you because we already clinched. We want to rest you up, and maybe you don't win the MVP. That's a big deal, man. Like, you want to ride for Cal Raleigh, which means you want to put the best lineup out there to protect Cal Raleigh. It's like, hey, you know what? If we don't have Julio Rodriguez in the game or, any one of our Randy Rosarena, let's just pitch around Cal Raleigh. He's going to play the final few games here to see how many home runs he can hit in this historic season and also try to win an MVP along with those accolades for the team and how good they've been. But let me ask you this question too, Joe. You take a look at teams like Tampa Bay, Baltimore playing today, Minnesota and Texas, Kansas City and LA. How do you handle those situations where both teams are out of it? I generally just lean towards the over, which means low leverage situations, trying new pitchers out, and sort of a almost pickup game type atmosphere for me.
Yeah, well, a lot of these teams are playing towards the future, right? So a lot of guys playing for contracts, playing to make all the young guys that have called up with the expanded rosters. All of these guys, you got to take all of that into consideration. I mean, the best thing is, Donnie, you don't have to bet every game here. And a lot of these teams are just playing out the string here, trying to get the season over with so they can move on and try again next season. So tread carefully here in those games.
Now, I'm going to ask you this question right now. If we do take a look at that odds board, Cal Raleigh's a minus 210 right now to win the MVP. Aaron Judge is a plus 170. Only a few days left in the Major League Baseball season. If we took the odds out of it, Joe, minus 210 and plus 170, put these guys at both plus 100, who are you taking for AL MVP today to do it, Raleigh or Judge?
Well, it's funny. I mean, Raleigh gets the 59th and 60th home run. But again, Judge just did something that only 3 other players in Major League Baseball history have done, and that's hit for 50 or more home runs in a 4th season here. That's rare air we're talking about here, Donnie. It does not happen. And Judge did it again. And also, Judge could lead American League in hitting as well. That's the difference.
Phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal stuff. You know, it's going to be phenomenal. The Ryder Cup's coming up, and our buddy Keith Stewart joins us next.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
I would say a phenomenal year for the UConn graduate, as Paige Beckers could have came out last year to the WNBA, and she decided to come out this year. It would have been interesting if it would have been Paige or Caitlin Clark. I don't think it would have been as slam dunk as people think to go to Caitlin Clark.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
They had clearly in hand at the end, especially in the second half, and yet somehow they managed a shank of a 60-yard field goal, and a flag comes in with no time left, Donnie, for a penalty. Do you want to know how many times that penalty of leverage was called all last season? Want to take a guess?
How many?
4.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, we're a day away, hours away. It feels like we wait every few years for the Ryder Cup, and we love the Ryder Cup when it's on the U.S. mainland, particularly just outside of New York City. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri, and Keith Stewart joins us today. Boots on the ground at Bethpage Black. He's our go-to guy. He's our PGA guy right here on the SportsGrid Network. Keith, how we feeling? A day away.
Hey, Donnie, when you say boots on the ground, it's rain boots on the ground. It's pouring out here today. They moved the opening ceremonies to yesterday, which was great because I don't need all that pomp and circumstance. I just need the captains at 4 p.m. to tell me who's playing in the first session tomorrow morning. Because you know what? We've waited long enough. They announced this thing 4,392 days ago when Governor Cuomo and the PGA of America came here and said, we're coming to Bethpage for the Ryder Cup. Well, it's finally time.
I absolutely love this, too. And it's nice talking to Keith multiple times this week to sort of get the layout. But what Keith just alluded to here, normal, nice conditions, the golf course plays one way. Bethpage Black is already an absolute bear. With rainy conditions, maybe can't hit the golf ball further, but who gives the advantages here? Is it Team USA or is it the Europeans that would get this benefit from maybe a soggier golf course?
Well, the weather's going to be perfect during the event. So maybe if it was going to be bad weather while they play, you might say Team Europe. But the fact that we're just going to soften the surfaces and create more scoring chances, it undoubtedly favors the USA side. We are much better at scoring. It's proven. I mean, we play over here on the TPC PGA Tour where, 30 under wins tournaments. Our guys are conditioned to go low. We've already established that they've moved a bunch of tee boxes up to make the golf course shorter. They've lowered the rough. They've widened the fairways. They want this thing to be a shootout because it favors the Americans, and that's part of that home course advantage, Donnie.
So weather won't be an issue, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Keith, because I was going to say, what's the advantage for the Americans using and setting up the course to there? What do they think their edge is here, and how did they set the course up to help them?
Joe, there's a couple things, but probably the most obvious one is about 6 weeks ago, I played the golf course, and I was comparing it to the 2019 PGA Championship, which was the last time these guys played in an event here on the Black Course. And the scorecard is 107 yards shorter. That doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of 18 holes, it's substantial. They've shortened some par threes. They've shortened a couple of the longer par fours. And the reason being is that the U.S. side is much better at hitting wedges. We are much better at scoring shots. We're much better at scoring irons and mid-irons. We do not want to get into a long iron fest like we had over in Rome. You're going against guys like Rahm, Hovland, Rory, Hatton. Those guys are some of the best long iron players in the world. We have the best wedge players, Ben Griffin, Russell Henley, Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns. That's what we want to do. So the biggest setup key you're going to see is that all of the tees, where they can, the PGA of America has moved them up to give us an advantage. And it's very similar to what they did at Whistling Straits, which is you lower the rough, you let our guys bomb away, and then you let them just absolutely attack the pin. It's like a Jordan Spieth, Phil Mickelson mentality that we've shared for decades.
We're talking to Keith Stewart, our PGA Pro right here on the SportsGrid Network here. And if we look at the odds market, Team USA is favored, Keith. Minus 145 price, the underdog Europeans at a plus 165. So I ask you this, do you agree with that price point? Also, who's winning this bad boy?
Well, Donnie, I definitely agree with the price point, and I'll give you a couple of reasons why. Here's why the USA is favored. The home team has won by an average of almost 7 points over the last 5 Ryder Cups, right? Scotty's the number one player in the world, so we're talking about number one liability. Everyone that looks at this event domestically is going to say, well, geez, we have Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. We've got the Tiger Woods guy. We are going to bet them hard, so that number just keeps getting shorter and shorter, right? Not to mention the fact 2 weeks ago when he teed it up at the Procore event out where we don't even know, it doesn't matter. He still won, so he's coming off of a win. So the last time we were in America for a Ryder Cup was 2021, and Scotty Scheffler has 0 wins. 4 years later, he's got 19 guys, all right? We have 7 players in the top 10 of the official world golf ranking, and we're better par 4 team, and there's 12 of them on this golf course. They take away 2 par 5s. I can give you 100 reasons why. USA is favored for a ton of reasons, and the number one reason is home course and the number one player in the world.
Keith, in years past, we have seen this event, Team USA, not exactly a great team, a lot of good individuals. How is Bradley putting this team together? What's the camaraderie like? What's the feel with them?
Well, in the press room, it's been very interesting. It's obvious that, everyone knows they have Scotty on that team, so it makes them feel comfortable. And they also know they have Bryson on their team. And he's attracting all of the attention of the fandom that's out there. So if you're one of those guys that's just like a Cam Young, a quiet guy, just wants to go about your business and play your best golf, or Patrick Cantlay, that's the two best things in the world that you can know. So Keegan Bradley has kind of just put these guys in the best position possible to perform. They've brought in the analytics team. They have a team from Scouts, which is, a very high-end, data-driven consultant that have taught these guys who needs to play with whom and on what holes. And you know what? I think that for the first time in a long time, Captain Keegan is taking seriously the analytics side of all this, which the Europeans have done forever, and one of the ways that they kill us all the time. But I tell you what, it's nice, it's refreshing to see Keegan do that. And I think the guys, as a result, feel pretty loose about things. Even some of the stars like Morikawa and JT seem more comfortable than they should be based upon the way they've been playing lately.
Ryder Cup is always built on pressure. It's so much fun to watch it play out. The crowds are certainly tremendous, and no better place to be than just outside of New York City. But understand this, Keith, too. There are interesting ways to bet this. Team USA is favored at a minus 145 price to win this. But there is an odds market that says after day number one, plus 108 USA, which means we don't usually start all that well in some of these team competitions. If we see Team USA up after day one, is it a wrap, Keith?
Well, I tell you what, there's a couple places you can go with this, and these are the types of bets that you want to do pre-match and before we know the pairings. Yeah. I would definitely take Team USA for day one total. I mean, it's plus 108 there at FanDuel. There's another one. The overall foursomes winner, right, has won the Ryder Cup the last 9 times, right? If you think that the USA is favored and they're going to do well, that's a plus 105 job right there. I mean, the U.S. has started well. 7 of the last 8 Ryder Cups, the USA has led after the first session. So if you want to take tomorrow morning's foursome session, the winner, USA plus 125. Donnie, I got to counter you there a little bit. I'm going to go deep on the USA tomorrow because I feel like they get off to a hot start. They have the home course advantage. And, Europe, as I just said, 7 of the 8 last Ryder Cups, they've started slow.
And you'll hear this if the USA doesn't perform. Boo! That's not for Keith Stewart. We love Keith. Thanks so much for joining us this week on the Ryder Cup, Keith.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
I would say a phenomenal year for the UConn graduate, as Paige Beckers could have came out last year to the WNBA, and she decided to come out this year. It would have been interesting if it would have been Paige or Caitlin Clark. I don't think it would have been as slam dunk as people think to go to Caitlin Clark.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
They had clearly in hand at the end, especially in the second half, and yet somehow they managed a shank of a 60-yard field goal, and a flag comes in with no time left, Donnie, for a penalty. Do you want to know how many times that penalty of leverage was called all last season? Want to take a guess?
How many?
4.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
2 hours of fun. It's how we get down. We set the table. It's a Thursday into a football Friday. So many good things this weekend, but so many more good things this evening. But this is the time that myself, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Ranieri, we like to reach out to the public and get their opinion on our Fade the Public poll question. Thursday night football is the topic, people, and at SportsGrid on Twitter/X. If you're not following, you're doing it wrong here. We asked the simple question you could vote on today. What is your best bet for Seattle versus Arizona on Thursday night football? 4 opportunities to weigh in here. Over, under, Seattle or Arizona. For me, Joe, I actually went under 43.5 as my vote on this one. Where did you go here?
Yeah, I went Seattle, Donnie. If I just think there's too much history, there's too much data that shows us. Yeah, I think Seattle should have been the favorite. I think Arizona was the wrong team favorite. I think the market has adjusted correctly.
How about that? And by the way, if we look at the percentages here, 14% voted on the over, 22% on the under, which is actually kind of a flag there. Usually everybody just bets overs constantly. Seattle, -1.5, 46%. They are the favorite. And then the Arizona Cardinals at a 17% clip at +1.5. They pull up there second to last, only behind the over, which, again, it's kind of interesting here. People love to bet overs here. But I tell you what else people love. They love to win money. If you tuned in yesterday, you loved what Joe and I gave you on the Boston Red Sox. No matter how many ways you bet the Red Sox, you probably came up with a victory. We're looking to do it again today. Here's bye, bye, bye. There's baseball, there's football in the card, Joe. Buying yourself some victories tonight. Where can we go?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go to that Thursday night football game. And though it is scary knowing the public is on the same side as you, the public is not always wrong, Donnie. And I think the Seahawks are just the better team. And they are certainly the more healthier team here, as that secondary and cluster injuries on the offensive line for Arizona are huge red flags, especially with how good the Seahawks have been defensively. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they get their starting safety and the cornerback back this week here. So given the fact that Mike McDonald, the head coach of Seattle, since he's taken over, is 8-1 straight up in road games, yeah, I got no problem backing Seattle to get it done on the road against a banged-up Arizona team who I just don't think is that good. So I'll back them, Donnie, on the money line.
Yeah, we'll see where this line goes as well. We sit here early this morning at -1.5 across the board. We'll see if you get any buybacks there on Arizona. But as we talked about, Arizona was the favorite heading into the week here. That -2.5 price point now flipped again back over here to Seattle in a total that's sitting at 43.5. I'm also I love these bets because I think, Joe, we keep them simple. We don't outthink anybody. It's early in the morning. What's the best point of play for tonight, whether it be a baseball game or a football game? I'm going to keep it simple again. It's Kyler Murray for me. I don't need a lot from Kyler Murray. And as a matter of fact, if we look at his first 3 games, Joe, of the season, 6 carries, 7 carries, and 7 carries. Yardage, 38.
Yep. Kyler Murray, yes, over 27.5 rushing yards with Donnie. And that was one also that I was a big fan of, given the fact that the pass rush is going to be there. And he's also going to have to tuck it and run it when he gets a chance. So, Donnie, I think those injuries on the offensive line are going to force him to have to get out of that pocket more than ever tonight.
You can't take me off the air before I'm giving my best bets. Look, the people know how much we win, Joe. They're trying to cut it right when we give our best bets right now. That's why I'm still here and audible, as Joe pointed out. Kyler Murray over 27.5 rushing yards tonight. He gets at least 30 rushing yards. We don't have to worry about sacks taking away from the total. Give me that in the first half, and I don't care what happens the rest of the way, as long as Joe Ranieri also cashes his Seattle money line ticket. There. They can't take us away, Joe. They can't pull us off the air. The FCC, nobody can take this time from us while we're giving out winners. Nobody.
Nope. They can try to pull the plug all they want, Donnie. It is not going to work. We're going to give out our best bets, and we're going to go 2-0 again and make it a profitable lead into tomorrow, because we got a lot going on this weekend, man. A ton.
I mean, football Friday tomorrow, Major League Baseball final weekend. By the time we get back on Monday, we're talking baseball playoffs. We're talking Monday Night Football. Don't you dare miss out on what the SportsGrid Network has to offer for today. We set the table exactly correct. But tomorrow, a football Friday, Joe, the energy must be high. Caffeinated Joe's going to return, and away we go, Joe. I can feel it. I can feel it right now.
I am ecstatic, Donnie. Looking for a good game here tonight as well. Go Seattle.
For Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri, this is the early line. And the best part about it is we will be back early tomorrow morning. Enjoy the rest of your night cashing those tickets.